Owning a coastal home means facing a tough decision. Do you replace an aging roof now or push it another year? Here in Mount Pleasant, the environment forces the issue. Your roof is constantly fighting off high humidity, intense UV exposure, and corrosive salt air that break down materials far faster than they would inland. Then come the tropical rain bands and wind uplift. These systems test weak shingles and soft decking rapidly, finding vulnerabilities a standard rainstorm simply doesn't. That creates the wait-and-see gamble. It is tempting to keep your cash in the bank and squeeze one more season out of a roof that looks decent from the driveway. But when that gamble fails, the results are severe. Once a weakened roof loses its grip during a major coastal event, the storm does not stay outside. Timing a roof replacement here is a critical coastal protection decision. It dictates whether you retain control of your property or let the weather dictate your next move. To keep that control, you have to work against a strict clock. The National Hurricane Center officially tracks the Atlantic season from June 1st through November 30th. Looking at this calendar heat map, the risk is not evenly spread. It concentrates heavily in a specific window, from mid-August through mid-October. Right in the middle of that darkest red zone is September 10th, the statistical peak of the Atlantic season. Notice how this stress curve spikes right before that peak. Months of relentless summer heat and afternoon thunderstorms bake and weaken brittle shingles, just in time for the heaviest winds. Because of that invisible cycle of heat and moisture, a roof that seemed perfectly fine in March can easily become a structural liability by August. If you have active leaks or visible wear, this decision tree outlines the safest path, taking action in the spring. By replacing early, you secure top-tier contractor availability and get your first choice of materials before local demand dries up the supply chain. Spring weather gives your new system time to actually work. Shingles, underlayment, and flashings need those mild weeks to properly settle and seal before the late summer tropical events arrive. It also allows crews to safely uncover and fix hidden coastal damage, like rotted decking or trapped attic humidity, while the weather is still dry and predictable. You could try to beat the rush in January, but winter replacements require specialized handling to prevent cold shingles from cracking and sealants from failing. Committing to the project in the spring locks down your home's protective envelope. You trade a scheduled, known cost for total control over your environment. If you choose to push a weak roof, one with curling shingles or rusted flashing, into August and September, the physics work against you. Tropical rain doesn't fall straight down. Extreme wind drives it upward, forcing water completely underneath overlapping materials that would easily survive a normal vertical rainstorm. Once that water-shedding system breaches, the failure cascades rapidly. A localized leak on the roof quickly becomes widespread interior damage inside your living room. This table shows the real financial penalty. A pre-season replacement has a set baseline cost. Post-storm, you pay for saturated insulation, ceiling stains, and compromised wiring. Factor in drywall repair, mold mitigation, and replacing rotted wood decking, and that bill easily doubles. Waiting for a storm to prove your roof is failing turns routine exterior maintenance into an expensive whole home emergency. There's a persistent myth that it makes sense to wait for a hurricane to hit so your homeowner's insurance will cover the replacement. Try booking a reputable contractor the week after a named storm hits Mount Pleasant. Everyone in the Low Country is making the exact same phone call. This timeline tracks the reality. You immediately hit severe delays from backlogged adjusters, overwhelmed permitting offices, and massive contractor waitlists. Regional supply chains dry up. You'll face shortages on specific shingles and underlayment, forcing you into a temporary blue tarp situation for months. Insurance policies draw a strict line between sudden storm damage and age-related wear. If your roof was already failing, your claim can be denied entirely. Relying on post-storm chaos strips away your power to choose your crew, your materials, and your timeline, leaving your home vulnerable when it matters most. Ultimately, the right time to replace your roof is dictated by your home's specific risk category, not the calendar. Looking at the scorecard, the first group is the planners. If your roof is under 12 years old, lying completely flat, with pristine flashing and zero leaks, you are in this category. Keep your money in the bank. Wait out the summer and schedule a simple post-season inspection in the fall to check for flying debris damage. The second group is the risk carriers. If you have brittle shingles, widespread granule loss, soft decking, or a history of repeated leaks, this is your column. You cannot afford the wait-and-see penalty. You need to schedule your replacement before the peak season arrives. Correctly diagnosing which category you fall into is the only way to avoid emergency contractor premiums and protect your property. You cannot accurately spot soft decking or failing flashing from the driveway. Letting a hurricane diagnose the health of your roof is a bet you will eventually lose. If you need absolute certainty before the June 1st deadline, you have to take action now. Reach out to Master Roof Mount Pleasant today to schedule a comprehensive pre-season roof inspection and lock in your spot on the spring schedule. Protect your home. Make the call and dictate the terms before the storms hit.